then we'll get started. We got a lot to do. So let's get him in here, and then we will get moving. Okay, hold on one second. I'm just getting all my stuff ready. I'm gonna hide this. Oh, I hear him. Hold on. Oh my God, it's so annoying.
Everything at once, huh?
Hey, what's going on?
How's it going?
How's your quarantine going?
It's going good. We just ordered enough foods. Well, it's supposed to be for 2 weeks, but knowing me and my daughter, it's probably going to last for about 4 days.
Oh, there you go.
So we did that. Yeah, we're gonna have a blast. We're gonna binge watch some stuff. We're gonna, watch some basketball. She loves basketball, thankfully. So we're gonna have a good time.
So ask her if she has any insight into the. Oh, you got
Sorry about that. All right, we're good. I got it. Sorry, what was that, Sheets?
Well, you ruined the whole time. Don't worry about it. No, it's okay. So I said, just ask her if she has any insight on this Frank Mason business.
What's your part about it? Because I do. Unless there's some piece that I missed.
Well, I mean, the piece I'm missing is that he's rating like across the board as the top point per dollar play because of one game where he had blowout run. So I'm just curious what's going on here.
So he hasn't been playing. So the fact that he's there is one part. I might be in a very small minority here, but I'm a Frank Mason believer still. I think the guy's actually talented.
Okay.
Put it this way: if I picture him playing Cole Anthony, they're playing in their practices and their scrimmages, I would imagine that he's probably giving him a hard time, and I would imagine that he's probably earned himself some run. I know we're just judging off a little thing. We don't have enough other value. I did something a little bit different. I highlighted all the plays that I like, and then we have so much questionable value. I'm just going to try to focus on which of these guys I want to get in where.
Because he does raise the top point per dollar play on my board.
I've got 2 big lineups on DraftKings. He's on my DraftKings lineups. I wouldn't consider playing him on FanDuel.
Okay.
Right now, he'll probably be in less of my DraftKings lineups, but I'm telling you, this is what happens. We go through the whole day. We get you ready for the slate. We get ready for the slate, and then we're going to hear about news that's going to change everything. And some of it we can speculate on, and some of it we can't.
So let's start with what's going to be the first game, because the first game they could be, well, it could be interesting because what's his name is still questionable, right? Oh, I thought DeLon Wright was questionable. Oh, he's going to play. Okay.
DeLon looks like Wright's going to play. So is Ellington.
Fine. I don't have to worry about some nonsense over there. Okay. So let's talk about that because right off the bat, the first game is pretty interesting, right? You have Brooklyn with Harden and Kyrie, and they don't play defense. So Detroit, you could find guys to play also. Do you like this game?
Yeah. So basically, my strategy for this game is pretty simple because, look, in reality, I'm not going to be, me, Sheets. I'm not going to be the guy who tells you to play everybody. I will be splitting up ownership. I will have more Harden on FanDuel. I'll have more Kyrie on DraftKings. And as of right now, I've got Kyrie in one of my 2 big lineups. Now, I think I'm going to probably pivot off that, possibly pivot off that. The problem is I like a little run back in this game, and I like Kyrie quite a bit. The issue I'm having is that there's all these 8K guards that are going to go under-owned. Just to name 2 of them that I love, Ben Simmons and Donovan Mitchell. I just think that they're terrific spots that are going to be less than 10% owned probably by the time it's all said and done. And you can get them cheaper. And it's on a night where you want to save some money. So paying for the medium stars rather than the superstars might be a good way to go on this slate.
So for me, for example, I don't know if it's the same for you on FanDuel. For me on FanDuel, my original core is Kyrie with both Grant and Griffin on the other side. And I was going to do exactly what you said. I was going to play some Kyrie and then in some cases play some Harden. And I do like both of those guys on Detroit. Do you like anybody else on Detroit? Do you like those guys on Detroit, or do you like anybody else on Detroit?
So I like those guys on Detroit. I think there's a little there's always with Blake, it always feels kind of wrong to play him as chalk, kind of, you know. But I think Isaiah Stewart.
I have him at 17% on DraftKings. It's not the end of the world.
No, you're right, and that's probably about. So I would rather play Toscano Anderson.
Okay.
But especially because that is what I'll speculate on. I'm going to speculate that Draymond Green doesn't play tonight.
Ooh, that's very interesting, isn't it?
And if he doesn't play, it opens it up for him. It makes Wiggins, who already for some reason is going to be higher owned than I thought he should have been, but certainly not if Draymond's out. He'll definitely be a solid play. Wiggins gets a bump. I don't think it gives that much of a bump to Steph where I want to play Steph, but that's going to be an interesting sort of angle that I take here. And I do think Isaiah Stewart is your pivot off Frank Mason type of chalk. Now, like also one other thing you can use as an excuse now, while center is really strong with in a couple spots, guard is also point guard is loaded. So if you want to use Isaiah Stewart as your different pivot, and I actually think there's a lot of merit to it in this kind of a game. Like if he can get in and get the run in with a guy in Plumlee who gets in foul trouble like 75 to 80% of the time, it just gives him an opportunity against the team that you want to face the most if you're a big man. So, I mean, look, they have a lot of bodies in Detroit right now. So playing any of these guys is a little bit more suspect than it probably has been most of the time. Blake is too cheap, or just not too cheap, but so cheap that he doesn't need to play great to get us there. I still don't, it's a great matchup, so I'll play him. But Jeremy Grant's the guy you want to play, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me at all if it got spread around a little bit tonight, or if somebody else took over that was out of the blue even a little bit. They have a lot of bodies. But I do like Grant and Griffin personally with my builds because I've got, some more than one lineup. I'm going to split them up, but I have no problem playing them together at all with Kyrie. I think that's actually a logical way to go. I just am sort of siding with the Toscano Anderson stuff, but I also will have some Blake and Toscano Anderson. These guys are barely above value.
That's really just sneaky super sharp, by the way, that the Toscano Anderson thing, because he's going to be like 0%. And if you get that news,
what they'll do is they'll play. That's what I'm worried about, Sheets, is that they'll play Blake and they'll switch over. Wait, hold on. No, I'm sorry. Blake's in the first game. No, I'm sorry. They won't do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're right. Yeah. So that's the route you go. You know what happens with me with players, Sheets, more than teams?
Okay.
I always think of Blake Griffin, and I just think West Coast game. Like I don't know. It happens sometimes with me with teams also, but like the other night it happened with Golden State where I put them in my utility spots and my forward spots rather than the early games, just because I just got it mixed up, which is strange because we go through the games. But yeah, I do like Toscano Anderson as a pivot or in addition to Blake Griffin. And he has routes to get there, by the way, even if what's his name doesn't play. Even if Draymond does play.
Just so we covered any Brooklyn nonsense or no? I didn't get that.
So Jeff Green on FanDuel maybe.
Because what's his name's active, the Vonleh also.
Yeah, but what are they going to do with Vonleh? I mean, I know that Jeff Green is sort of like
nothing. What I'm saying is they might throw him in some minutes and and maybe make DeAndre Jordan less of a play. I don't know.
Oh no, I hear you there. I don't. I mean, look, DeAndre Jordan. I'll tell you what's going to happen. About 1 out of every 10 slates the rest of the year, DeAndre Jordan is going to put up like 40 fantasy points. It's going to be very hard to know when or why, but I don't see tonight as a reason to speculate on him. Especially against a team that doesn't really play with a big that he needs to defend.
The next game, with the exception, the next game we can move on, right?
Yeah, let's go.
The next game, with the exception of maybe just kind of a spite mini stack with Butler and Randall, maybe in one lineup. I really don't have much going on in this game.
What's the spite thing?
No, just to do one. I mean, that's all.
Oh, I thought you meant like maybe there was like just
because it's something I like to do. You know what I mean? Just to play the top guy for both teams. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't like anybody in particular, but a Randall Butler Butler game might not be the worst thing in the world if you're playing multiple lineups. That was my only take on this game. That's the reason I bring it up.
How about Jimmy Butler becoming like the Chris Davis of DFS? 44.5 fantasy points exactly 3 games in a row. One of those games he would have put up like 70, but that was a blowout. Jimmy Butler, so they're in desperation mode. He's playing in desperation mode. This is Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy Butler right now. Unfortunately, the ownership and the base make it hard for me to get to him on this slate. But I wouldn't be like, I mean, he's in that Jimmy Butler mode. It's just strange in a slow down game against a team that's been good defensively. Like, I don't know that I really want to play just chalk Butler.
I'll give you. By the way,
former coach narrative. Do we get that, Sheets?
I will.
Coach narrative.
I will tell you this just because I like you. One site, like you said, has Butler at 25%, and the other 3 that I follow have him at under 10. So just
that's what I would have thought too. Okay, so that's going to make him a little bit more. Again, though, it's going to be weird when you get into the other AK guys that I actually really like. So, but again, small forward isn't available.
There's really no way he could be 25%.
Maybe that's true.
I don't think.
Maybe it's true. It almost is like the 25%.
The reason I bring it up is like, if you like him, I wouldn't not play him because you think he's going to be 25%. That's all.
No, I appreciate that. And this is what we should be doing. We're allowed to say this stuff. You know what I mean? We can say whatever we want. So the one thing about the Plumlee, it's America. Yeah. Well, I don't know what that means anymore. Plumlee is going to go nuts. So the Plumlee thing is interesting because it's not that I don't like Plumlee as like a play. I mean, I don't like his price. I would say that he's been better than I thought. So I actually have him as a pivot on FanDuel off of Cousins in a couple lineups. But I don't even love that. I just think I think he's okay. I think actually, you know what? If you're going to stack this game, you can definitely do worse than playing Plumlee. I don't think I'm going to do it, but I understand why. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump back, but I saw that question in the chat. Guys, pump in some questions, and we'll go through these games as quick as we can. Sorry to take so long. That first game is a kind of a big one.
3 guys. Okay, we can move ahead. 3 guys from the Houston side I want to discuss. I want to discuss John Wall. He's rating as a top play. I want to discuss DeMarcus Cousins, who is rating as a better play on FanDuel than on DraftKings. He's rating to be a good play, but not a must play. And then I want to talk about someone who's popping all over the freaking place in my thing. And I had him a bunch yesterday, and he did really, really nicely with Sterling Brown.
Right.
He was off the bench. They played him minutes. He was just fine. The only thing that concerns me about him is number one, Wall being back, but number 2, that Gordon is back. So I don't know. Again, but I'm just telling you right now that he is showing up as a good play. So those are the 3 guys I'm interested in on Houston. This is obviously all this because Oladipo is out and Christian Wood remains out. And then what's really scary is that I didn't like anybody from New Orleans because I know I probably should, but I don't see it. So what do you think?
Well, we just got news, by the way, that Derrick Rose is playing. So I was going to play a little. I forgot to mention it, but I was going to throw like Elfrid Payton in a lineup or 2. That's not happening anymore.
Put him right in. Excellent. Good for him.
So they're going to play him. I have no idea why they got him. Their problem is
I have no idea either.
I don't understand what they're doing. But you know what? Unusually, though, I'm like actually on the Knicks side. I think that they're doing the right things for the most part. It seems to be like they actually are building.
Let's put another point guard in them. I mean, hey, it's good for what's his name? Good for Detroit. Maybe Dennis Smith Jr. gets his career going again.
You know what? I would love to see Dennis Smith Jr. with some freedom to rank. He definitely is going to win us some money for GPPs. I'll tell you. I'm sorry for DFS. One thing that's standing out to me is, do you have Eric Gordon crazy high projected ownership?
No, I have him. It's the same thing. Like you guys, one of the sites has 20, and then everybody else is 15 or below.
That's still high though, 15.
Yeah,
I mean, I actually thought he was.
I don't like playing him. So
I thought he was a sneaky good play. if no one was going to play him. But I thought when I first looked, I thought no one was going to play him.
That's not good enough if it's like 15%. I guess small enough slate, not really.
No, because you're like he's only even in better the Sterling Brown thing. I don't know how many minutes Sterling Brown is going to play. It's the back-to-back, which is actually something he usually would play in because that's one thing he can do is just play minutes. But you're getting so many chasing, and they added back 2 wings. They don't have 8 players anymore. They have 9.
That's true.
He has put up 23 or better in 3 out of the last 4, which is on this slate at this moment. It's good enough for me because we don't have any better value, and we're going to need some value. You know what I mean? The one thing I would say that's interesting is that everyone's going to not play Cousins for the wrong reasons. They're going to not play Cousins because he let them down last night. He only played 25 minutes, and he's facing Steven Adams and a good team against the center. The reason why they shouldn't be playing Cousins is because it's a 3rd and 4 nights, and that could seriously be dangerous for a guy like him. But I think it's crazy not to just – if Cousins is really going to be – and I'm guessing you're going to have him similarly in the 20% range on DraftKings, you can count on me being at least double that.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, they got blown out last night, which is why his minutes were cut down. And they also know they had a back-to-back. So I'm guessing that they're saving him some minutes. I think his minutes are going to be more closer to 30 tonight. What worries me is what can he move even for that long? Now, the good news is he gets to play against Steven Adams, so you don't have to move very much. So I liked Cousins. I like Wall a ton.
So they're not putting him on Zion, I presume.
No.
That'd be very humorous.
Oddly enough, the guys we should be probably looking at more than Brown would be House and Nwaba, because they actually will play minutes. They're a little more expensive, but I just can't quite find that exact need of that amount of money on a build. I really can't. I don't have like a 4,300, 4,100 need. Everything I need is in the 3,600 or less range. So that's where we go there. New Orleans side of it, who do you like?
I didn't get to anybody. That's what I'm saying. I was hoping you were going to say, dude, this is a big Zion night or a big Lonzo night or something like that. I got nothing.
I heard a lot of talk about Lonzo, but to be honest with you, I really like Lonzo. I would like him a lot as a play tonight. I mean, you've got, John Wall, even though the team's been good defensively, they've still given up points. He's been over 30 now, 7 games in a row at 6,300. But we've got better plays in the same range, or similar range. DeJounte Murray put up 500 points last night against the same team, and they're missing Derek White tonight, and he's like the same. He's 6,500. So I just don't see myself playing Lonzo over DeJounte Murray, although I do think DeJounte Murray always comes with a little bit of risk. And it always would be fun to play Zion Ingram at low ownership. No one's playing Ingram lately, and he's going nuts. But I just can't get to it on this slate.
Me neither. So Golden State, San Antonio, they're running back, same game as yesterday. The Draymond thing is a really sharp call. I mean, like you play. Well, if you put in Toscano Anderson, for example, there's plenty of things you could do if you're wrong. You know what I mean? I don't think that it's a. You don't need to do anything if you're wrong. What I was going to say is I feel as though the way the game ended last night is not the ending that leads to Draymond sitting. Let's put it that way. I don't know if you saw or people were watching, but Draymond just kind of lost his mind a little bit at the end. They ran a play. They needed a 3, and Draymond got it with 5 seconds to go. Didn't know how much time was on the clock, and he instantly heaved it, like an air ball. And he's looking around. He's like, "Uh-oh!" So it was kind of all the talk that he really just lost, whatever. So for me, I think that he plays. That would be my. And I don't know if that, one has anything to do with the other. If he's hurt or if he's injured or if he needs the rest, that's fine. But I think he's just kind of pissed, and he's going to probably want to play if at all humanly possible. The San Antonio side is obviously the fun side, right? So Lonnie Walker is now active, and he's 3,600. He rates right now as my second best point per dollar play. And
who was your first again?
Mason.
Oh, your first was Mason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, keep going.
And then and so he comes to be a good play. It is a back-to-back, but I think all these guys. What's that?
Walker didn't play.
No, I know that. I'm just saying for the rest of the guys. I'm just trying to think of what he's going to do, right? So DeRozan, I still think he's a really good play. I think that Murray, again, you tell me he comes with risk, but I mean, Christ, he just does it every freaking day. He's fine. If you want to screw around, I mean, Rudy Gay, I played him yesterday. He was okay. You could tell that he's a guy that, let's put it this way, that maybe Pop prefer not to play. You know what I mean? Like, unless he had to, I suppose. But, Vassell got minutes. I mean, he might be the guy, especially on a back-to-back, to get back in there. But another guy who I kind of talked about yesterday might have a good game. I don't even know how he actually ended up doing. But I was looking at FanDuel, and I was looking at Cousins or whatever. You want to play someone who's going to be really low over there. You can go right back to Podol.
I don't think that's – well, first of all, he's always been awful on back-to-backs. I don't know what he's done this season, but I agree with you otherwise. Like, it was the first thing I thought of today was I'll try this. But in general, he's always been really bad on back-to-backs, and this doesn't seem like a great environment, even though he played extremely well. It's just they're going to run a little bit more. But even if Draymond doesn't play, it actually kind of like hurts him even more. Yeah. And he was really good last night, and he put up 36. Like, you know what I mean? If Cousins is really good, he's going to put up 55. Yeah,
I think if Cousins is good, that it doesn't matter how much Podol puts up. You know what I mean? Like,
good way to look at it, Sheets, because there is median for Cousins though too. Like he was terrible for 24 minutes, and yet if he played his 28 minutes last night, he would have gotten there fine.
Exactly.
So, but I do think that DeJounte Murray is going to be really, really chalky, and I do really like him. Go ahead.
So go play Patty Mills. Why not?
Okay. And by the way, there's just a lot of options, but I do like, I mean, look, I love everything about this matchup on its face. It's hard to ignore it. I do like Lonnie Walker. He's my favorite of the value guys because I know at least he's going to play minutes. He'll have a chance to take shots in a fast-paced matchup. I am on board with, like, I had Rudy Gay in my original builds, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to play this game anymore.
Tell me, this Vassell is going to be the pivot.
That's who I put in my original build. Now, I don't have many lineups, but I put in my original, like, I wanted 10% of them. I don't know if it'll be Vassell, though. I don't know if it has to be any of them. And I just watching Vassell, the reason, look, I actually think he's really talented, but I watch him play, and if you look at him, he's been incredibly efficient for the most part. I don't think Pop can stand watching. He looks lost completely on defense on every play, every single play. And I just don't think – I don't see him bumping into the 26, 27, 28-minute range unless he either makes 7 threes or 6 threes or – other one or more of these guys are out, because most of the games where he did get those kind of minutes were with these guys out. Again, guys, I'll jump in once we're done with going through the games. We're almost done, and I'll jump into chat and answer some questions.
But I do think DeRozan remains solid.
Yeah, solid. I definitely don't have the same interest as I did to start the day in him. He's fine. I didn't love the overwhelming chalk on him yesterday, but honestly, he's probably a better play today. Do you think it? Yeah. I wanted to take I thought this was going to be a for sure take the under on this game situation for you.
No, the opposite.
Sorry about that.
It went under yesterday.
Wait, what's that? No, the game
because it went under yesterday.
No, I know. It just felt like it just feels high, doesn't it? On a back-to-back.
Well, that's why. That's why it's the over.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Draymond doesn't play, I'll take the under more likely, even, because that guy loves to push the ball. But yeah, DeJounte Murray, DeMar DeRozan's fine. I do like Lonnie Walker. Look, you could get popped here. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
There's a chance Rudy Gay doesn't play here.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like into the Vassell thing. I don't know.
You're right, and he's the guy who's most likely to. But so will Patty Mills play minutes. They don't usually sit Patty Mills.
Nope. You like Curry at all or no?
No, it's really crazy. What happens when they announce Trey Lyles is starting and Podol's out?
Don't laugh. Lyles another one.
I mean, but do we play Lyles? No, we play Mason and then we switch to Lyles if that happens.
That's probably right.
That's the right way to go. That's also what hurts the value of the Stewart things he's in the first game.
Right. All right, and in the last game, no, not last. There was a couple more games, right? So a few more games actually. So Orlando, Portland, the chalkiest player on the DK slate. Now again, I don't have him at 50%, but I have him pretty freaking close. I have him at 40, and that's Vooch. So you play Vooch with Mason, I suppose, and then you have Lillard. That's a lot of money, but kind of hard to argue with it, right? I mean, you get a Lillard Vooch thing. Lillard Vooch thing going a little bit. So that's certainly a possible build. I didn't really get to anybody else in the game. Cole Anthony is fine. Well, first of all, I don't think I want to play Mason and Anthony in the same lineup. Do I have to play Dwayne Bacon? Is that what you're telling me?
So let's start with Vooch, because anybody at that high of ownership can basically is fadeable.
Yep.
And I'll throw another thing on top of it. Well, it isn't a back-to-back. It is a third,
especially when you can play Embiid, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. It is a 3rd and 4 nights. Oh no, it's not a 3rd and 4 nights. They actually had 2-night break. Ooh, I actually did some research on him, thinking it was a 3rd and 4 nights. I got the date wrong. That's a mistake. Yeah, I mean, I think Vooch is probably going to have a big game here. Is he the only way to go at center? There's other guys. I already mentioned Cousins, and I'll mention other guys coming up in just a minute. A couple of them actually. And look, it's really hard to figure it out. There's so many bodies that we're assigning minutes to with value, and we have Al-Farouq Aminu coming back tonight. I don't think he's going to play much, but if he was playing,
somebody was in the chat saying, "Give me some Aminu." Is he any good? I mean, like.
If he was going to play, I would 100% play him. I have no reason to think he'll play more than 10 minutes. Okay. Like zero reason. There's an outside chance that he ends up playing 20 minutes. They still have Khem Birch there also. Gary Clark can play 1,000,000 minutes and be adequate enough for them defensively to where they'll play him, even though you can't play him for DFS. Terrence Ross it sucks, man. Playing this guy this year has been a nightmare. On FanDuel, he's 4,500. On DraftKings, he's 5K. He makes some sense.
I like him today.
It's a great matchup. He's just been so bad. He makes so much sense. Look, if this was, the first game and Gordon all of a sudden was out and Fournier all of a sudden was out, Terrence Ross would be like 60% owned on this thing, But we've seen a lot of this with him before, and he's very volatile. But Ross, Anthony, these guys are all fine. I just don't know how to. I don't know how to just differentiate between the Bacon, Ennis situation and Mason.
By the way, there's another one. I don't think Bacon approaches that ownership, by the way.
Okay, so it depends on who's going to end up. Well, I guess kind of it doesn't depend. Maybe it doesn't even depend that much.
He'll be 20% maybe, but I don't think 30% plus.
I don't have him at 30. I have Bacon at like 15%.
Oh, okay.
Mason's probably my favorite, which is probably wrong. Look, okay, so here's what happens. So who's going to – these guys aren't going to be the ones who actually guard Lillard in this game, right? Like, who is going to guard him? James Ennis or Dwayne Bacon is Dwayne Bacon would be my guess. Because they can't really put Cole Anthony on him, not seriously.
They could.
They can't. Maybe.
They made him guard freaking Gordon Hayward that whole game I talked about before.
That's a totally different situation.
I know.
Lillard is
a tough guard. It was a tough guy to guard him. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but in all fairness, they also didn't put him on LaMelo, and that would have been just as tough of a guy, maybe a tougher guy to guard even. Who knows? With the way that guy's going. Anyway, I don't know what to do with this game a little bit. I think that we can wait to see the starting lineup. You can play the value and switch over because they all are on the same team anyway. I think Frank Mason is my favorite, and he's obviously not going to start anyway. But I do like the speculative side of him, and I don't know if he'll be quite as high owned as everybody thinks by the time it comes down to the actual game time. So I'm sort of on the Mason side of it. I don't love it. Look, we can always get other value too. We can switch over to if you play these guys. But I guess if I had to value, I would go Mason. Well, Ross is better, but he's obviously a little more expensive. Mason. Mason, Bacon, Ennis, or Mason, Ennis, Bacon, I guess, depending on who ended up starting between Ennis and Bacon. So maybe I'd put Bacon in there, and I don't know. I honestly don't see who's going to guard Dame Lillard. So one of these guys and Vooch are going to go in my lineups because I will be playing Dame Lillard tonight.
You're going to play him on both sides?
Right now, I've got him as one of the top plays on both sites. I think he's going to be way under-owned. I don't see this as being a decent or even okay matchup. And here's your real pivot, Sheets. I know. I've said it before, and I've been right before, just not as much recently on this guy. I'm not buying there's never going to be a game where we don't get Cantor in enough foul trouble where there's a good center on the other side. They don't really have anybody to guard him. I'm going to throw out Harry Giles as a wild card play. I don't know how much of him I'm going to get to, but I will have some. It's a long shot, way long shot.
There's nothing wrong.
Rodney Hood is the obvious value if you wanted to get a little stacky, but I probably would suggest just playing Rodney Hood separate from if you're going to play Lillard. And I'll have zero Cantor tonight. It's just going to be probably like 30% Lillard for me and maybe 15 to 20% Hood, depending on how things shake out after the lock.
I wasn't planning on getting any Cantor.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I don't see any reason.
And Harry, again, for whatever reason, I wasn't going to do the cheap centers today, but maybe I should look into it.
It's just a long shot thing that you can switch if he's your utility anyway. You can always just switch him over to somebody else.
Okay.
If the value opens, which is what we're speculating on.
Right. I think the Draymond thing is going to be awesome if you can somehow take advantage of that.
Yeah. Pascal even becomes Draymond's out.
Oh, God help you. Okay. The other guy the one guy we consider on Portland, again, it's a little. I mean, it is ultra fishy, but he came back. He had a minutes limit first game back off the ankle, but Derrick Jones Jr. was playing pretty well before he got hurt. I don't know if I can do it, but that was just the guy. It was just the guy I was looking at. That's the best I can describe it.
He might still be on that minutes limit, by the way.
Oh, you think so?
I think he is. He is personally. Yeah. So here's the most interesting. I think this is the most interesting game of the slate. Well, the next two actually are the most interesting.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. You can start.
Nobody's going to play any of these guys. We talked about all this other speculative value. We have the absolute nut matchup. And so my other – look, I know I can't play all these guys that I love, but Ben Simmons is the other one who I love. And I like Embiid too. I think one of these guys gets there big time. I also really like Seth Curry, and I don't even mind Danny Green. I just Danny Green
is actually showing up as a play.
Yeah, I think Curry's a little better, but I do like Green too. And it's just you're going to get shots against this team. It's not so hard to score 25 fantasy points when you're going to play a bunch of minutes. So I'll take shots on those guys maybe, and then you can always switch the value later if things open up. Maybe that's the best strategy we've come up with so far on today's slate.
Is what?
To wait.
But you have to. I mean, you do have to make the
initial decisions.
Yeah,
the initial first game. But even that one is not. There's three guys in that game that you could need. There's three guys in that game you could definitely need. That's true.
Well, the other thing, by the way, is that what you just said makes who that makes really low owned. By the way, if he wasn't going to be low enough owned already, it was Isaiah Stewart. Yeah,
that's the problem though, is that people I think actually will jump the gun and play him a little bit.
Oh, you think so?
So maybe he's not as. I do like him though a little bit, but he's too early for me. Early in the day.
No, that definitely makes sense. So I like I want to do a couple of things this game actually, and well, actually not even a couple of things. I was hoping that you would give me, and you just did, some insight into Simmons, because I think playing Embiid is like easy in a way,
Mm-hmm.
You're pivoting off of Vooch, which makes sense. He has a freaking 80-point ceiling in any game. And you have a very fast matchup, which means more possessions. And for me, I mean, this is really tough with all the other guys you could play, but you could play a much lower owned Fox than he usually is. as kind of a pretty natural run back. And I don't, like you said, I don't know how many people are doing that.
So in non-blowouts this season, Ben Simmons has only scored 30 less than twice. Now, I know that's not a huge number, but this is the absolute ceiling matchup for him. Like, again, that's true for everybody in Sacramento to some extent. But Ben Simmons should absolutely thrive in this matchup. I honestly feel like it just feels like a walking triple-double right now to me. So I have Simmons a little bit ahead of Embiid, also this position scarcity, but I love Embiid. It wouldn't surprise me if Embiid scored 70. You don't need to play either of these guys. They're just pivots off of all these other guys who everyone's going to play. But those are two guys who I'm looking at. And I'll go through my favorite plays after this, and I'll go through the chat. But we'll finish this off. Sheets. Is there anybody you like on Sacramento on DraftKings?
Just Fox. And it's not a good player or anything. I would just do it. You know what I mean? if that makes any sense.
Yeah, you're just betting on. Yeah, I get it. I think I would just rather play Simmons personally, but this is more outs with the rebounds and the triple double and all that stuff. But I think that, like, I actually like the matchup for Buddy Hield. I just don't think that he's going to get enough to get me there. It's too expensive. And I do think Rashawn Holmes on another, like, if I didn't like center, I needed to spend down and find that guy. I could use him if I was playing a ton of lineups. I don't know if I'm really going to get to him, but 5.7 is not unreasonable. I think he's as good a play as he actually probably a better play than he and Plumlee are probably pretty close. I'll put it that way.
All right, so now after all that, you can't blow it with this last game because you still have Jaylen Brown questionable. And that's a big deal, man. I mean, like, if he's out, Kemba and Tatum become really, really strong plays. And I wonder what we should leave available for that possibility. I think it's really important. And then don't forget, on the Utah side, they're missing their freaking point guard. I mean, you have Mitchell, you have Ingles, you have all these dudes, and Clarkson. Clarkson remains cheap on FanDuel. They might start Ingles, right?
I think they would.
Yeah, so all these guys are really, really strong. I mean, what do you want? What do you do about this game? This game could be the nuts when you think about it.
I think on DraftKings, it's only like the only interest I have some interest in Clarkson. I don't have interest in Ingles or Bogdanovich or any of those guys over here. It's reaching. Okay. It's really reaching to me on this slate playing those guys. Like, just play Kelly Oubre and have a real shot at 45 or 50 fantasy points. You know what I mean? Don't. By the way, I know that Bogdanovich scored 50 in one game. He's not going to make 70% of his threes every game. And by the way, he's made 70% of his threes in two other games this year: 7 out of 11, 7 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 5 out of 10. He only put up 39 and 29 in two of those games. I'm not messing with that. It's Mitchell and Gobert. And then I love Jaylen Brown if he plays. And if he doesn't, one of the other two, I guess, but I don't know how you build your lineups like that. I mean, I really don't. Like, you can play I guess you could play Mitchell and Brown and then switch it over to, Gobert and Brown and then switch it over to Mitchell and Kemba. That's the only thing I could see, that's a 2v2 that works. Do it right. But other than that, it's going to be tough if you don't have anything on this. And I don't have an inside in feeling on this. My instinctual feeling is that he's going to play. So I've been wrong about those sometimes, but that's just my personal feeling. I think he comes to play. Boston's a team that doesn't tend to try and sit guys out very often. They'll sit them out, but they won't sit them out in games that they feel like that are tough games. This has been the best team in basketball in Utah. They're only 6-point favorites, so Vegas thinks that I think Vegas is assuming that Jaylen Brown will play based on that. And and if he plays, I love Jaylen Brown, and if not, I like one of the other two. But I don't know how many of my lineups I'll be allocating to that. The one guy I am going to advertise heavily is Gobert, but Donovan Mitchell is just there with him. I mean, these guys would be like, Mitchell would be like 8,800 and Gobert would be like 8,400 if these games stayed close. They just blow most of the teams they play out. So if the game's going to be close, you got to give Gobert like an automatic 40 almost. Especially against a team with even though they've got frontline guys who are like, okay, they can't match up with Gobert. They just really don't. Like, you can still beat up Boston on the front line, even though they have good individual defenders. Just because they can't match up with him. They can't rebound with Gobert. They're not the seven. It's just he's gonna get 15 rebounds and have X number of points. I don't know, maybe 2, maybe 20. It doesn't really matter because he'll have 15 rebounds and 3 blocks and 2 steals and probably 4 assists. I mean, he's going to have a good game tonight.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to go to the chat and answer anything because I have all right, let's see. Give me some. They like the NASCAR show, which is cool. Zion from New Orleans. See who I like out. I don't know what that is. Zion, look, if you want to, the problem with Zion is you've got a guy who his ceiling game of the season I wouldn't be happy with tonight. I wouldn't be happy with 48. The ceiling game of his career, he's only 60 or something.
I do like to say is that power forward is if you want to do this, the power forward position is pretty shitty, I think, on FanDuel, isn't it? Or no?
Let me get over there in a minute.
Okay.
Is Joel Embiid a must tonight? Definitely not a must. He's not going to be owned by anybody. That's your reason for playing him. Yeah, that's pretty much it. DeLon Wright, we might not have talked enough about. Nobody asked this, but I think DeLon Wright is actually like a decent play. I'm just not going to do it myself. I'm telling the truth. Like I actually think there's a chance he puts up like 45 plus against Brooklyn, but I just am not doing it. Too many other good plays. Any Holmes love? I do think Holmes is okay. I just think that there's other options there, other routes I'm building. Is Zion a better play than Blake? These are not real questions because you can't measure a guy. That's like saying is Embiid a better play than who did we just mention right before that? Rashawn Holmes. Like, yeah, of course Embiid's a better play, and of course Zion is going to score more fantasy points than Blake 90+% of the time here. But that doesn't. I don't know. They're totally different prices, so I don't know what the rest of your thing is. Oh wow, we got a message retracted. I don't know what that means. Jack, I don't like the okay, look, chasing is there's different meanings of chasing is like my association with it is chasing is like legitimately means chasing. It has nothing to do with a guy in a good matchup who's underpriced without the only reason that he got priced up a little bit in the lineup. Forget whether or not he scored any fantasy points last night. It's not chasing.
Who are you talking about?
DeJounte Murray.
Listen, he's been playing great the whole freaking season, and now they have Derek White out. You know what I mean? Like he's a tremendous play.
Yeah.
He just
I think so. Reggie Bullock, we have some Reggie Bullock love. I think Reggie Bullock's one of the worst plays on the slate. I think if you play Reggie Bullock, you're making a terrible mistake. Terrible mistake. That's my personal opinion.
Dude, you're looking at someone who had Reggie Bullock at 1% ownership the other day.
Was he 4,400 with 74 guards?
He was 38. No, that's what I'm saying. And the Lord, so to speak, punished me by literally snowflaking the rest of the lineup.
What did he do? Did he do anything? If he did anything,
he scored 100 fantasy points, and he scored like 38. He played 38 minutes.
Yeah.
Like
Wellington starting.
He made 7 threes in the first half.
I'm guessing he means Wayne Ellington is starting. I'm not sure why that's relevant to us. I appreciate it, but it's not. I don't think it's relevant at all. These guys are expensive, man. These guys are not cheap. They're 47 and 4,400. I'd rather just play, basketball players. Favorite spend. We'll get to power forward in a minute. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to go through this because I've got to edit my lineups. My favorite overall plays, the guys I've got in the most of my lineups right now on DraftKings: Lillard, Vooch. I know these are popular, a lot of them. Grant, Murray, Wall, Kyrie, Cousins, Gobert. Getting creative with Simmons, Lillard, and Embiid. My cheap guys, I'm shuffling through Ennis, Brown, Hood, Bacon, Walker, and Mason, and and Stewart. And I'm leaning the heaviest right now because they plays later is Mason, and along with Lonnie Walker. Favorite spend up. Those are the values, Jugga. Hopefully that helps a little bit. FanDuel. I don't know if I have time to go position by position. So my favorite. So the favorite. What was the question? Favorite power forward. Favorite power forward. Spend up at power forward on FanDuel.
How about any power forward? How about any good play at power forward on FanDuel?
So Blake is still pretty cheap over there, and Jeff Green is another guy who I have on my list, but I don't think I like it. So I'm going to change up my lineup on FanDuel, and then I have to go change.
So let me ask you this. Let's just say you have.
Okay, just understand the answer right away. Go ahead.
Let's say you have $5K to spend on FanDuel, and you're between Rudy Gay, Jeff Green, And
I wouldn't be between Rudy Gay.
Okay. Daniel Tice. How about a guy who hasn't played any minutes for no reason? How about Marvin Bagley?
Yes. You're 100%. I'm on board with you, Sheets.
Sold.
Okay. I totally can get behind it. Okay. And by the way, you know what? I'm probably sloughing off Rudy Gay too much. It wouldn't surprise me, I guess, if he had a good game. But first of all, he hasn't even paid off this price anyway. Why are we so into Rudy Gay all of a sudden? Let's give it a break. I mean, he's a back-to-back at 3 and 4. The guy's 50 years old. He still can score. No question about that.
No, it's gonna be Lyles, dude.
FanDuel, the guy who I'm taking out of my lineups is going to be Jeremy Grant. Because
why is that?
Well, he's fine.
Okay.
And I just think that there are other routes, and we shouldn't like slough off the fact that Detroit has 100 bodies.
Yeah.
It is still a good play. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to undersell him. He's still a fine play. I like Kelly Oubre. I like Toscano Anderson at 5,300. I like Keldon Johnson at 5,300. I like Ingles at 4,500.
I like a lot, actually, Keldon Johnson.
Keldon Johnson, you do?
Yeah.
It's worrying me a little bit his minutes trend, but I have a feeling it has to do more with Derek White than it does with Walker, because he was playing all the same minutes with Walker before. So maybe this Derek White being out gives him the boost that we need, you know?
Yeah. I'm hoping
But the problem is, is he that much better of a play than Toscano Anderson? And the truth is, I actually think he is a better play than Toscano Anderson. But if there is no Draymond, you can always switch over to Toscano Anderson. The paying up at power forward is tricky. I mean, I do like Zion better on FanDuel for sure, 100%. I don't know that I would want to pay up for power forward. I think that Tatum would be my favorite play, followed by Bam and Tatum are both good plays. Oh my gosh, got a thing that said it. I thought it said it. Somebody told me earlier that Covington was a lock on FanDuel. I was like, what are they talking about? What am I missing about about Amir?
Covington?
Yeah. Sheets, are you playing Harden on FanDuel? What's that?
Am I doing what on FanDuel?
Are you playing Harden on FanDuel?
I'm playing both. I'm playing some Harden and some Kyrie.
Maybe I should just left it the original way. I'm starting to like FanDuel is really like it's pretty nasty. I think Bam's a great play, but I don't really like. Maybe Jeff Green was actually the best idea I had today. Jeff Green or Royce O'Neal. Ugh.
1, 2, 1.
I think it's Jeff Green.
2.
Yeah, it's Jeff Green over Royce O'Neal.
Jeff Green, huh?
I think that.
Yeah, but Royce
O'Neal's
going to get the minutes, right?
Jeff Green's going to play the same amount of minutes.
You think so?
Yeah, I have no reason to think he wouldn't. They got smoked the other day by Philly without KD, and he played 29 minutes with missing his fourth quarter rotation.
That's true.
So I think he will. Lonnie Walker limited to 20 minutes off the bench. Fuck you. Okay. That means we should get more Spurs news if there is any in the next 10 minutes. I actually think my original lineup, am I going to do this again? Stick with my original build? Let me see if it's too chalky here. Sheets, tell me if tell me if some of these guys are too chalky. Well, actually, they are going to all be too chalky. All of my builds that I made like at 6 a.m. my time have I pulled a U Sheets. They're all the chalk. I went for all the chalk here. And then you're like you, I need to make 2 creative pivots late and get it straightened out.
So we can't play Lonnie Walker, correct?
No, you can. I just wouldn't play that much of him. I mean, look, he's still projected to play the same amount of minutes. He can at least score. I don't think you should play him much. No, you should be playing other guys.
Okay.
I mean, Harden's ownership.
Jesus. At 650 this time.
I don't understand how not on FanDuel.
Well, I prefer. Well, then if you play him, and then Brown's ruled out.
Doesn't matter. Oh, he's a 7,200, 75. He might even be as high as like a 7,500 player with Brown in. He was like a 7,800 player last year, and they had Hayward also. You know, he's just coming back from the injury, and they have no Conley, who's actually been like the best on-ball defender in basketball this season. And I'm going to take Kemba after he's, coming off his 4 for 20 shooting, because he'll put up 1 million points. He's going to be great on FanDuel this price. And my build is just real chalky, just super chalk. All right, guys, I'm going to have to edit some lineups here, so bear with. I mean, look, you can get Toscano Anderson at 1/100th the ownership of Keldon Johnson, which is just kind of fun. You could try and fade Joe Ingles, which is actually kind of an interesting route to go.
What's the big deal about Joe Ingles?
My original lineup is I'm not even touching it. Sheets, you need to undo it. I'm not touching it. It's all chalk right now. Nobody starts forever except for Blake Griffin, except for the Detroit guys, and I guess Harden too. That's actually a lot of guys. Yeah, I'm rolling with it. I do think that Zion might have a big enough game here on FanDuel where he and Bam are pretty close. So if I played Bam, that would leave me with like a minimum cost guy at small forward. What's weird is that Bam is should be like the most popular play on FanDuel. I'm not even sure he will be.
Bam?
Yeah, so to get different, instead of playing Jeff Green, and so I'm dealing with the 2v2 right now, Jeff Green and we have Green and Jeremy Grant versus Ennis and Bam. I actually think Jeremy Grant's going to be lower owned because of his price. I'm just going to leave it, man. I'm just going to freaking leave it. I'll change it. I'll leave one in the 44 with the other one. I'm going to have to change a bunch of lineups though on DraftKings.
Oh, we got 7 minutes though. The whole freaking day.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. I have Josh Hart questionable.
Yeah, I don't know if that really does enough of anything. You know what I mean? Who are we giving extra run to exactly? Nickeil Alexander-Walker maybe, but they've really tightened up their rotations a little bit. All right, so we'll see if this would have won me the 100,000 and instead only wins me 40,000. No, I'm just kidding. It's so chalky. It's way too chalky. You can't win a tournament like this. I don't know what's going on. But I have a feeling things are going to happen after lock that are going to allow me to get off the chalk a little bit. I made the stake sheets the other night after – I can't remember who – oh, no, I changed the wrong – no, I didn't. I changed it wrong. I can't remember who it was, but somebody got off to a slow start who ended up with like 8Xing or something. And I changed my lineup after the first 50 minutes just based on that and got real creative with it. And it just if I would just left it alone, it would have been not like a huge winner, but a 3 or 4 times your money instead of not cashing. I just got way, way, way too creative with it. Okay. Let's change my DraftKings lineups. So Lonnie Walker was in one of my big DraftKings lineups. He will not be anymore.
No, I'm going to have
zero.
Do
you have any updated projections on that?
No, I've been too busy trying to get my own shit. I'm
sorry.
I'm just Xing him out.
Well, that's really easy. It's such a sick game that they make Sterling Brown and James Ennis both small forward only eligible.
That is true.
Stupid stuff like that. It just drives me nuts. I don't need Rudy Gay at all anymore, obviously. Do you know what else drives me nuts on these nights sometimes is getting the wrong names of the tournaments.
Pretty funny.
Forgetting which one's the 77. Because they don't tell you on DraftKings when you're editing your lineups.
Let me just make sure I don't have any sumps. I mean, there's no way I would, but.
Oh, Duncan Robinson, another play I don't mind tonight, by the way. He's 4,500, and anybody who can just get hot, I'm just going to keep look, this is not an exciting – I mean, Patty Mills I could play instead, Feel a little more secure with Robinson. I could play Rodney Hood instead. Actually, may not be a bad idea because I have a game stack of that anyway. I've got literally like 9 players from that game. He's not going to go put up 8 fantasy points in 34 minutes every night, and it buys me more time than Robinson does. Okay, guys, don't panic too much. You don't really need to have everything figured out yet. There's still time. We're still going to hear about things. I promise you that. The bounce pass is the big one, right? Am I missing something?
I don't know. I'm not playing it.
Yeah, let me just double check. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, it's the pull-up. It always is, but it's just like freaks you out if you get it wrong once. Josh Hart is playing.
You like him?
I mean, they're like, he'll probably play some minutes. I'm not going to play him at the beginning of the slate, though. And I mean, he's always got upside. Like, I just don't. I don't know. I mean, we're desperate for value. Do we need to go there? I don't know if we need to do that.
You like PJ Tucker?
No, but I mean, again, same thing. He could always put up a game. Put in Ennis. Wow, I've got that Portland. Got every single player from that game in one. One thing I tried to do was play Cousins and Brown together on Brown.
Which Brown?
Cousins and Gobert together on DraftKings. So okay. I've got some lineups, but where I played Cousins, I mean, look, you're not talking about a huge amount of leverage or anything, but it is a little bit. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people will play one of them with Vooch, or mostly Gobert probably, or just separately or just alone. I don't think that many people are playing that combination together. Especially because Vooch is going to be 50% owned. So,
how much lower do you have on DraftKings?
40%.
I have. I'm almost with you. I have like 32%.
I love him. I really love him tonight.
Yeah, I got a full 14% Josh Hart. You don't need that much. Who's better at 4,400?
It is kind of a cool little brainchild. Who was that options?
Well, there's
what
House.
About playing?
There's Daniel House. There's Rodney Hood. I mean, like, there's stuff you could do. I mean, like,
yeah.
Obviously, Dwayne Bacon. I mean, like. When's Dwayne Bacon? Not for a while, right? Oh, Dwayne Bacon's not forever.
Plenty of time.
But New Orleans at 7:30. That's the problem, isn't it?
I'm going to pull this one.
Let's check one thing.
All right, we hit luck. But as we all know from playing this game forever, it's just the beginning. There will be a lot more information, a lot more things that happen. Guys, I'm going to answer any questions for anything that's after lock right now before she kicks me out of here.
A couple of things. So for those of you that didn't see, like today we had a special guest on. Tomorrow could be. It's an interesting parlay. So we have someone who I think is probably 30% to remember that he's coming on, 30% to actually show, 30% that if he shows, he'll be sane, I think. So we might have
always sane. He's like one of the best honor people.
I know. Well, he's been a little off recently on Twitter.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then
I think he would even agree.
Yeah, and then I'm going to see what I could talk him into talking about. I want to coerce him into talking about tennis. I know he doesn't want to, but I want to see what I can get out of him. Worst case, we'll just like BS with him about whatever. Maybe we'll get him to trash some of the content people. That could be fun.
That's good. I could probably join in that one with him, but it's probably smarter that I don't.
Nah, you guys have fun. All right, sounds good. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck, everybody. We'll see you at the top of hopefully the top of the leaderboards tonight.
Top of something at least. I gotta find where my. So you guys have a minute.
This is like a live in-game place. Like I really do have a feeling we're going to hear about some important information still.
All right. Well, somebody golf breakdown tomorrow for sure. Absolutely, Ziz. Kidding. Discord link. It's somewhere. Bob, you want to put it on real quick before I go?
Hold on one second. Yeah, let me just grab it real quick.
We'll look at ownership real quick before I have to run.
Grab it.
Before entry.
Where is it?
I got nobody.
Invite. How come people can't just look up True DFS and then find us? I don't understand.
I don't know how to look up. I mean, is that what it is?
It's True DFS, yeah. But let me try and find
Jeremy Grant, 45% owned.
Yeah, on DraftKings.
Blake Griffin owned. Kyrie 8%. You can just bring it all over. It's fine by me. Let's go.
Let's go, buddy.
Do you have a? Oh, you can do this without me here. You can post in the chat still, right?
Why can't I find this?
Well, you sent it to me too, so I don't know.
I know I've done this. Oh, here we go. Hold on. I honestly don't know why it's not popping up on my screen. The little copy. Oh, here it is. Maybe if I click on the thing, guys, can somebody else post the link in the thing? All you have to do is go to your thing and post it. I think I just can't find it. I don't know where.
I have it. It's right here.
It's not the same one from the other day though.
Oh,
they change.
Oops.
Somebody told me they change every day. Isn't there used to be like an invite people button?
I have no idea how it works.
All right, I'll figure it out, and I will. I'll put it on the tomorrow's video on YouTube, guys. Sorry about that.
All right.